Did the luggage arrive? Starting today, my parents are moving in with us. Take care of them.
You've got to be kidding me. That was the first thought that came to mind. I was already furious with him, and now he's being this selfish?
That's how it is, so I'm counting on you.
I could see exactly what he was thinking. By bringing his parents into our house, he was trying to keep me in check while also expecting them to help him out with things. Anger surged through me, but then I smirked. Sure, I just moved out of the house.
What?
Robert's dumbfounded voice made it hard for me to keep from laughing. It seemed he had forgotten who actually owned the house. Thomas, listening nearby, was also struggling to suppress his laughter. After all, that house originally belonged to my grandparents, and the deed is in my name.
Oh.
So, whose permission were you planning to get before moving in with your parents? There's no way I'd ever let people like them into my house. Laura, who takes pleasure in tormenting me, and Frank, who treats my son like a toy. Did you really think I wouldn't know? You're going to pay for this. I'm Patricia, a 32-year-old part-time working mom currently on maternity leave. I have a husband, Robert, and a 1-year-old son, Michael. Michael has just started walking on his own recently, so I can't take my eyes off him. Still, watching his wobbly steps is so adorable, and hearing him call out to me with his tiny voice is heartwarming.
Michael must really love his mom.
I met Robert, who gave me the gift of Michael while I was at work. My parents run a traditional bakery. Every day, they bake delicious bread, and together with my parents and younger brother, we sell it with smiles on our faces.
Excuse me. Could you tell me your name and give me your number?
One day, Robert, one of our regular customers, approached me. Seeing his face turn bright red as he asked, I found him endearing, and we started dating.
Patricia, your cooking is so good.
Really? Thanks.
Yeah, so, will you keep cooking for me? By my side forever?
And that's how we ended up happily married. My parents were thrilled about our marriage, but my much younger brother, Thomas, had a constantly serious look on his face. Even so, he didn't openly oppose it, and I believe he was happy for us in his own way.
Thomas is going to take over the family bakery, and if you live with us, Robert might feel a bit stressed.
With my dad's suggestion, we moved into the house that had belonged to my late grandparents, and the three of us live there now. We plan to watch Michael grow up together in this house. One day, I went out shopping with Michael. He held my hand tightly and tried his best to walk with his tiny, unsteady steps.
Oh, Michael.
He came along with me. Come on, say hi to Grandma.
Hi, Michael.
When I bought bread at my parents' bakery, my parents and the regular customers greeted Michael warmly, all with big smiles. Michael, who wasn't shy around people, just smiled back at everyone. The bakery and our house are about an hour away by car, so we visit my parents' place about once a month. After a pleasant day with Michael, we returned home, only to find the front door unlocked. Could it be? When I opened the door, I saw a pair of familiar shoes. I sighed, realizing what was going on. I've asked you to let me know before coming over, haven't I, Laura?
Oh, finally back, are you? Where have you been?
Ignoring my words, Laura, Robert's mom, was lounging on the couch watching TV. She had likely used the spare key Robert had given her to let herself in. No matter how many times I've asked her to stop doing this, she never listens. I sighed again.
Hurry up and stop daydreaming. Get the chores done. I'll take care of Michael.
Saying that, Laura took Michael from me and told me to clean up the trash from the snacks she had eaten. Honestly, I wish she'd clean up her own mess and not touch Michael with her sticky hands. But when I pointed that out to Laura, she grumbled.
You're the daughter-in-law. Are you saying I'm dirty or something?
Then Laura made a show of saying to Michael,
Oh dear, your mom is so scary.
Laura, please don't say weird things to Michael. I retorted and took a sleepy Michael to his room. After that, I went back to doing chores while enduring Laura's snide comments. Frankly, I'd prefer to just ignore Laura, but if I take my eyes off her, she tries to leave the house with Michael.
Dealing with someone like you is so dull. I'll head home for today.
With that, Laura left. Honestly, I was relieved, so I saw her off with a smile. Laura really is a handful. I muttered to myself as I finished the chores I had left undone. I understand that Laura wants to see Michael, her only grandchild. However, Laura comes to our house almost every day, uses the spare key, and lets herself in without permission, which I really want her to stop doing. Hey, it's time to take the spare key away from Laura.
Why?
After Robert came home, I told him about Laura's behavior. Even after hearing me out, Robert looked uneasy. I glared at him. If you don't take the spare key away from Laura, I'm going to change the locks. And when I do, you're not getting a new key.
All right, fine. I'll take the key back from Mom. Happy now?
When I pressed him firmly, Robert reluctantly promised. I thought things would get better, but that promise was soon broken.
Can you come with me to my parents' house? I'm going to take back the spare key.
Robert asked me this on the weekend. Honestly, I didn't want to go, but I thought it would be better to witness the moment myself. So I decided to bring Michael and go to his parents' house.
You're finally here. I've got plenty of chores for you, so get to work already.
We'll take care of Michael.
As soon as we stepped inside their house, Michael was snatched away by Robert's parents, Laura and Frank, while I was saddled with their housework. I glanced at Robert, but he stubbornly avoided looking at me. I've been tricked. He set me up. I thought as much, but being outnumbered 3-1, I had no choice. Besides, I didn't want to stay in this dusty, messy house any longer than necessary, so I decided to quickly finish the chores. While I was cleaning, I heard Michael crying loudly. Michael, what happened? I rushed over in a panic and found Michael crying and struggling in Frank's arms. Seeing him reaching out to me, I immediately took Michael from Frank's arms. What did you do to Michael?
Calm down. We didn't do anything.
Yeah, nothing happened.
I glared at them, and Robert, who had been practically invisible, reluctantly explained what had happened. Apparently, when Michael tried to follow me, Frank grabbed him, forcibly picked him up, and stopped him. Even though Michael wanted to come to me, Frank ignored his feelings and started playing with him, swinging him around. That's why Michael ended up crying loudly, which is when I rushed over.
Michael sure is a crybaby for a boy.
Exactly. Raising him with an incompetent wife will do that. Maybe he should just stay here.
I can't leave Michael in a place like this. Excuse me. I hugged Michael tightly and left the house immediately. I should never have trusted Robert's words. I'm so sorry, Michael. Once we got home, I laid a tearful, exhausted Michael down to sleep. Afterward, I called my mom to vent and share everything that had happened. Meanwhile, there wasn't a single call from Robert, who was still at Laura and Frank's house. About an hour later, the doorbell rang.
Patricia, can I come in for a bit?
Thomas, what's going on all of a sudden?
Mom told me to come check on you. Here, I brought a little something.
It was Thomas standing there with some bread from the family bakery. Thomas then offered to take over the chores, saying I must be tired. He also played with Michael without a hint of annoyance, and thanks to Thomas, both Michael and I felt much better. You really saved me, Thomas.
Don't mention it. We're family. It's the least I can do. Oh, and Mom wanted me to tell you, you're always welcome to come back home.
Hearing that, I felt a deep sense of relief, realizing how comforting it was to have a family I could rely on. Robert came home a few hours after Thomas left. Apparently, he had stayed at his parents' place for dinner before returning. This time, both Michael and I were really hurt.
I'm really sorry, but you know, Mom and Dad didn't mean any harm.
Michael was crying. When I got angry, he pretended to feel remorseful. However, he didn't seem genuinely sorry, and I couldn't trust him anymore. At that moment, the thought of divorce crossed my mind. Robert, wake up already. Wait, Robert? The next morning, Robert was gone. Instead, there was a note left behind. I'm heading to Chicago for a business trip starting today. You could have told me that directly. Still, his absence irritated me less. In fact, I thought some distance would help both of us cool our heads. If he's not here, there's no problem changing the locks. This way, we can feel safe for a while, Michael. Michael, not understanding my words, smiled back at me, seeing me smile. As long as I have Michael, I don't need Robert. That's what I thought to myself. From then on, Robert and I started living separately for a while. It seemed like his business trip was long-term and very busy, making it hard for him to come back.
I really miss seeing Michael, and I miss your cooking, Patricia.
With the distance, we reconciled and started having weekly video calls to catch up. As for Laura, there's been no word from her since then. Even though I changed the locks, I expected her to at least ring the doorbell a bunch of times, but she hasn't done anything. While I'm grateful for the peace, I can't shake the feeling it's just the calm before the storm.
Patricia, something big just happened.
Right then, Thomas contacted me. Hearing the urgency in his voice, I listened in confusion and ended up learning about Robert's secret. That idiot. I'll never forgive him. Furious, I began preparing to retaliate. Thomas and my parents, who heard the story, helped me, and within 2 days, everything was set. Then, just as I was about to leave the house with Michael, thanks to Thomas's help,
Hi, I've got some deliveries for you.
What? Oh, sure. Just leave them here for now. A massive amount of luggage arrived at our house. When I looked at the labels, I saw Laura and Frank's names on them. I immediately called Robert.
Did the luggage arrive? Starting today, my parents are moving in with us. Take care of them.
You've got to be kidding me. That was the first thought that came to mind. I was already furious with him, and now he's being this selfish.
That's how it is, so I'm counting on you.
I could see exactly what he was thinking. By bringing his parents into our house, he was trying to keep me in check while also expecting them to help him out with things. Anger surged through me, but then I smirked. Sure, I just moved out of the house.
What?
Robert's dumbfounded voice made it hard for me to keep from laughing. It seemed he had forgotten who actually owned the house. Thomas, listening nearby, was also struggling to suppress his laughter. After all, that house originally belonged to my grandparents, and the deed is in my name.
Oh.
So, whose permission were you planning to get before moving in with your parents? There's no way I'd ever let people like them into my house. Laura, who takes pleasure in tormenting me, and Frank, who treats my son like a toy. Did you really think I wouldn't know? You're going to pay for this. Why would I live with someone like Robert who cheats while on business trips?
Wait a minute. What do you mean you moved out of the house?
Exactly what I said. I sold it.
How could you do that without telling me? My parents are coming to the house this afternoon.
It seemed Robert had planned to force his parents to move in without my consent. The reason Laura hadn't been making unannounced visits lately was likely because she'd been busy packing for the move. I imagined how hard it must have been to clean out their messy house, but honestly, that wasn't my problem. Not my problem.
Are you kidding me?
Aren't you the one being ridiculous? Your parents' luggage is right outside the front door. Bye. With that, I hung up the phone. When Robert called back immediately, I blocked his number and all his other contact details. Sorry to keep you waiting.
It's fine. Let's go.
I really owe Thomas a lot. It's thanks to him that Robert's affair came to light. When Thomas visited a theme park in Chicago, he saw Robert arm in arm with an unfamiliar woman, looking quite cozy.
I haven't seen Robert since the wedding, but he was a regular at the bakery, so I recognized him.
Thomas took photos as proof of the affair and informed me about it. After that, I enlisted my parents' help and quickly began making arrangements. One of the bakery's regular customers happened to be a private investigator who helped gather additional evidence. Through the investigator, I was also referred to a lawyer. As for the house, a real estate agent my dad knew got to work immediately.
The house was fully renovated before you moved in. Everything's spotless. There's a school nearby, and the station is within walking distance. It'll sell quickly and for a good price.
Just as my dad predicted, the house sold quickly. Today was supposed to be the handover, but that's when Laura and Frank's luggage arrived in bulk. We're home.
Welcome back, Patricia and Michael.
Both of you, welcome home. Great job today.
Thanks to my parents warmly welcoming us, I finally felt a sense of relief. Thank you. When I smiled, Michael let out an energetic cheer. Everyone laughed along with him. Now, all that's left is to strike back. I'm going to do my best, okay? Cheer me on. Michael responded with his usual adorable smile, as if he understood every word.
Oh, Patricia, working in the shop today?
Yes, I am. Please buy a lot. After that, I started helping out at the bakery while taking care of Michael. The regular customers greeted me warmly with smiles. Being back at the shop after a long time felt like a genuinely enjoyable experience for me. Just as I was thinking that.
Patricia.
Patricia.
Robert, Laura, and Frank appeared. I stopped what I was doing, handed Michael over to my mom, and faced them. This isn't the place for this. Let's step outside to avoid bothering the customers.
I don't care about the other customers. More importantly, what do you think you're doing?
Oh, and cheating during a business trip isn't selfish? At my words, the regular customers turned cold glares toward Robert. Noticing this, he went quiet for a moment.
We sold our house to move into that one. Where are we supposed to live now?
And according to Robert, you're the one cheating, Patricia.
Laura and Frank shouted, trying to shift the blame onto me. I was stunned by Frank's claim. There was no way I could have cheated. I was fully devoted to Michael. What are you talking about? I've never cheated.
That's a lie. A young man was seen leaving our house.
The only young man coming in and out of that house is my brother, Thomas.
What? Your brother, Thomas?
I told you before, didn't I? I have a much younger brother. As we were talking, Thomas poked his head out from the back of the shop. Seeing him, Robert's eyes widened in shock.
It's been a while since the wedding, hasn't it, Robert?
Wait, he's really your brother?
So, because you thought I was cheating, you didn't even bother to confirm and ended up cheating yourself? Robert's business trip was real. However, during the trip, he got involved with another woman and spent his time nurturing that relationship instead of coming home. And then, you went into debt to spoil that woman, didn't you?
What?
At my words, Laura and Frank turned their piercing gazes toward Robert. Meanwhile, Robert's face turned pale, and he looked baffled, as if wondering how I knew about it. Unlike you, I did my research. You ran out of money from our joint account and had to take on debt, didn't you? Wasn't it around $20,000? When I checked the account after a long time, I was shocked to see only a few dollars left. Our living expenses were primarily covered by my maternity leave benefits and the salary I earned before taking leave. That money was safely stored in an account I had used since before getting married, which he couldn't touch. As for the joint account, we had agreed to use it to save for Michael's future expenses, and I had been regularly contributing to it.
But this is going too far.
Then, should we let someone else decide? You decided on your own to move your parents into the house I inherited from my grandparents, which is under my name. Meanwhile, you were on a business trip having an affair and accumulating debt. I got angry, sold my house, and moved back to my parents' place. So, who do you think is in the wrong? At my words, the regular customers glared at Robert and his parents. Realizing they had no ground to stand on, they faltered. "Could you please leave?" I said with a smile, and they hurriedly left the store. After successfully driving them away, the regular customers clapped for me, making me feel a little embarrassed and shy. Afterward, I filed a lawsuit against Robert and his parents for emotional distress caused by their interference in the bakery during business hours. Robert, who had accumulated debt from his affair, couldn't possibly pay, and Laura and Frank, being irresponsible by nature, didn't have any money either. As a result, they sold whatever they could to scrape together the funds.
I'm really sorry. Please help me.
Robert clung to me, pleading desperately. I sighed deeply. "Do you really think I can trust your apologies at this point?"
No, but this time, I really.
"Enough. If you keep pestering me, I'll call the police." At my words, Robert slumped his shoulders in defeat. I gave him a cold stare. "I know exactly why you wanted to live with your parents." Robert flinched at my words. Laura and Frank had long complained about their small house and how they wanted someone to do their chores. In other words, they wanted to live in that house with me as their built-in housekeeper. As for Robert, he thought having his parents around would let him control me, as they'd gang up on me during any argument. They had even promised to contribute to living expenses, so Robert was likely planning to use the extra money to pay off his debts or spoil his mistress. On top of that, he probably hoped they'd find my old savings account and hand it over to him. Am I wrong in thinking this?
How do you know so much?
Working in customer service teaches me to observe people, and even though you approached me, I married you because I loved you. When we love someone, we watch them closely and understand how they think over time. Hearing my words, Robert hung his head in silence. And then he tried to lay a hand on me. However, before his hand could reach me, someone stepped in and stopped him.
That's going too far.
Thomas glared at Robert with a piercing look. Thomas, who has been practicing martial arts for years, has an impressive physique. Seeing Thomas's intimidating glare and feeling his grip on his arm, Robert was completely shaken.
Don't ever show your face in front of Patricia again.
Thomas shouted, and Robert let out a pathetic sound as he hurriedly left. Thank you, Thomas.
Anytime. If anything happens, just let me know. I'll make sure to chase him off.
Thomas's smile felt incredibly reassuring. You used to be a crybaby, always hiding behind me.
Come on, stop it. I'm an adult now. Besides, I've got people to protect too.
That's true. Just make sure you never turn out like him. Thomas laughed confidently at my words. I was sure he'd be able to protect the ones he cared about.
Hey, you two, time to get back to work.
Coming. Called by my mom, Thomas and I returned to the shop. After that, Robert seemed completely terrified of Thomas and never showed up again. When I sent him divorce papers through my lawyer, he signed them without any resistance. And so, we officially divorced.
Actually, the regular customers were so furious about what happened. They said, "How dare he make Patricia suffer like that?"
According to my mom, the regulars had been spreading the story of what happened at the bakery. It became a rumor that reached employees at Robert's company. The story spread quickly, and soon everyone at his workplace knew about it. Facing cold stares from his colleagues, Robert eventually quit his job.
I feel bad about what I did. Please help us.
I learned this through a call from Laura. I can't believe I forgot to block Laura and Frank's numbers. Help you? With what?
Well, financial support, of course.
I'm sorry, but I'm not kind enough to help someone who tormented me. With that, I ended the call. This time, I made sure to block the contact. Robert was unable to prepare the money for alimony and child support, so he ended up borrowing from a dangerous lender. Incidentally, his affair partner had believed Robert was single and dumped him without hesitation once she found out. I also heard rumors that Laura and Frank had to take on debt as well and were taken away alongside Robert by men in black suits.
Mommy.
Oh, what's wrong, Michael? Meanwhile, we were living a peaceful life. With shared childcare responsibilities, our days had become much more relaxed. When I helped out at the bakery, the regular customers doted on Michael. Parting ways with Robert allowed us to find happiness. Let's have fun together today, okay? Hearing my words, Michael gave me an angelic smile. A little while later, our family grew. Thomas's girlfriend, Emma, joined us. She adored Michael.
I'm so thrilled to have such a sweet nephew,
she said with a big smile.
I'm sure Emma and I can build a happy family together,
Thomas said, smiling confidently. Knowing how kind he was, I was certain he had chosen the right partner. And if anything happened, I could step in to help this time. There has been no contact from Robert or his parents since then. Thanks to that, our days have been peaceful. All right, Mommy has to work hard today, so you'll stay with Grandma, okay? From now on, the 5 of us would watch Michael grow up together. Determined to make delicious bread with energy and positivity, I stepped forward into the day. A few years later, our family grew even more. Thomas and Emma got married and had a child. On top of that, someone appeared who expressed a desire to be with me.
If anyone makes Mommy cry, I'll protect her from them.
Michael, now 5 years old, began saying things like that. Together with Michael, I continued to support the bakery every day.